Hey, Bo, I remembered to join on time this time.
Hey, you're good. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, but yeah, there's got to be a way to make it so you don't have to be there to start it, right? There might not be though.
Um, I put it down, so like you have to be signed into your GCG account. Now that you have one, I've set this meeting up so that you could start it too.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep.
It's just
I
that you
remember all
didn't have
that.
a GCG account before.
Right. Sweet. All right. I'll be right back.
Hmm.
Where'd you go, Stephanie? Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We'll probably start in 5 minutes just in case. Was everybody here able to join the Facebook group?
Yes, I joined.
Yes, I've also joined.
Awesome.
Warren, if you can hear us, every time you've unmuted, you're just a bunch of static. So I don't know if that's intentional.
He's revealing his true form.
Yeah.
While we're waiting, just in case here, I just find it's better to start 5 minutes after. On the Facebook group, I posted a PowerPoint that's going to go over everything we talk about today. So, because of time in general and just because there's a PowerPoint with all the information on it, I'm going to run through, the process and answer questions, and then sort of like you can check out the presentation when you run through it yourself. So I just posted that on the Facebook group. If you click files on it, you can find it there easily. And then we posted the program links on the Facebook group. I posted them real quick. I just pulled them from the email that Stephanie sent out. So those are also on the Facebook group now. The only program we're going to be talking about today is Compass. So if you want to download Compass, in between everything, there's a link. It's the first link on the cartography related programs post. But have any of you guys used Compass before or seen it before? Gonna go with a no.
Sorry, I was trying to talk to you muted. I played with it a little bit, but haven't done any real data. Just put in some data from somebody who started teaching it online.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there's somebody ran through a series of videos where they just documented their whole process recently. So, that stuff's, becoming more available, it seems, but I've not done that. What we're doing is we ran through this with the GCG course, and so this is our second time doing it, and I'm just going through how I learned from Howard Kalnitz and Pat Cambyses when they did the Western Kentucky class, but we're just trying to make it so it's not a whole week-long intensive thing, and we could just kind of work on it over time and finish a project together. So we'll get started. I'm just going to share my entire desktop for this whole thing. Entire screen. And so I'm going to try not to jump around too fast. If you guys need to see or don't see exactly where I'm clicking when I'm starting to move through files, just let me know and I'll do it again or verbalize it. But I'm going to try to verbalize everything I do. And I just wrote a few notes for the day here. And we're not trying to make any of these meetings intensive or long. We're trying to just connect, show you the process where you can ask questions, and then provide usually a PowerPoint that you could just go through by yourself, and then just open communication. Kyle picked all this up really fast from the GCG course. He can answer a ton of questions. Stephanie can answer a ton of questions. I can answer a ton of questions. I'm best over Facebook Messenger. But if you just send an issue you're having as you work through anything, we'll get to it right away. But definitely between the three of us. And we're trying to find a group of people to, I guess, are we calling it IU Show Cave, Stephanie? Or anyone?
Yeah, officially it's
That's
got to be called IU Show Cave, but it's also known as Truett's.
So our goal is to finish the map of IU Show Cave. And starting with that is entering the data from our first survey trip where the 3 teams went in and took survey data. That's what we're going to do today. So you have to get it online, or you have to get it in a data management program, and we're going to use Compass for that. The PowerPoint kind of walks through some other ones, and some of them are quite old. But another one you'll see a lot is Therion or Walls. But I like Compass. I think Walls might be better for bigger projects, but Compass is a little more supported right now. And
Walls is used on bigger projects pretty frequently, but the guy who programmed it is dead, and so there's people who've run into problems, and then their map just like cannot be resolved because the software has a few bugs that can't be worked out anymore because the guy who wrote it apparently wrote it pretty complicated, so nobody knows how to fix some of the stuff.
There seems to be an issue with moving the Walls information to ArcGIS as well.
Yeah.
Walls doesn't have some 3D portion that Compass has. So I think over time, more cave maps people are gonna like ArcGIS is gonna be part of the normal process, but it's not quite there yet. I don't use it. I have someone help me with it. So okay, let's jump into this. So the Project Cave Course Facebook group, we're going to try to get everything over on email as well for main events, but really the easiest way for us to support this project is through this group, at least for me. And I know Facebook's not the preferred for everybody, but this is where I'm going to be mostly interacting. I know, and I'll try it too. Stephanie and I will try to get the emails out. Laura's going to help with emails to the whole group. But for example, right now, if you are on the Facebook page, you can click files, and there's our using Compass PowerPoint, and you can reference that anytime when you go to do this on your own. In addition, I'm adding some of these to featured, but I don't know if they're not showing because I just did it or if because we just don't have enough posts. But this will always be pinned to the top. And this is the program. So this is the link to the Compass thing. If you click it, it'll bring you to this page. And you can download it here. And then there's some other programs there that we're not going to worry about yet. But we'll be using each of those or taking a look at each of them. And then that's either the pinned one or I posted it twice. And then this is where we're keeping the cartography file. So this will be pinned to the top as well. Again, I tried adding it to the featured and I tried pinning it to the top, but I don't know why it's not showing there yet. But if you click this link, and there's only so many posts right now, but if you click the link where it says, here's where we're keeping our cartography files, you'll get to the OneDrive page. This is how it shows up for me, and it doesn't have me signed in. So I got to assume this is how it show up for you. And so all of our scans from the first trip are in here. So I have them by Team A, Team B, and Team C. And we're going to need to make sure that we upload these scans to this file that everybody can access each trip. So for the next trip, we're going to have a file called, maybe May. It'll have a May date on it, survey scans, and we'll have all the survey scans in there. And part of that is sharing everything so anybody can help finish this thing, or we can all help and finish it together. But that's the concept there. So there's a OneDrive that we're going to keep everything on, including the compass file that we work on and the map. And Stephanie, Kyle, and I'll help organize it all as far as if a file's put in the wrong place or something, or titling things. But we really want you guys to try to finish this thing that we all started. So what we're focusing on as far as the data collected from the last trip is only these survey pages, which, okay, cool. So team A's data, we want to get that on the computer. We want to get team B's data on the computer and team C's data on the computer. This one that we're pulling up is nicely written. It's easy to read. I don't see that there's not going to be any issues with it. But as we put the data in, we might find backside issues and or things that we need to fix, or things that are bad that we need to make note of that might not really need to be fixed in the grand scheme of things, but it's good to have a note. But that's what we're focusing on. So, you know, all the scans of drawings and stuff, we really won't be getting to that until we get this raw data in, and that's all we're looking at today. So the compass program we're going to be looking at, I'm going to just pull it up. It's called, when you put it on your desktop, it says Project Manager, but it's this blue compass. SVG Exporter is related to, it's just a second version of it. SVG Exporter is a version or on the same website as the compass stuff, but you need it to do some exporting. But this Project Manager is the one we use. And this is what this screen looks like when you open it. Not much to go off there, but you can open a new project file. And what I want to do is I want to open one that's already done. So let me find that really quick, just to show you guys sort of what we're going for here. In fact, let's do well, let's just do the Mondays. Okay, so there's two parts to Compass once we start putting data in. And I'm opening a file. We'll show you guys how to make a new file and all that. But you can edit this cave survey data. And if you see here, we have an F2, H1, H2, some leads, all named sorts of different stuff with dates on them. And each of these is a different entry of data with a team. There's Bo, Ben, and Jonathan, and a set of data with it. This one just has JBB0 to T13 tie-in. But if we go to a different one, like the L over here, again, we can change. This was a Robin, Barb, and Kevin back in 2002. You can see that I8 to K26 is entered. So there's this raw data portion where we'll have like one of these dates here, this 11/23/2001 F survey. That'll be like our first entry for IU Show Cave. We'll have one entry for IU Show Cave, and we're going to put all the data under that one. You can put it to where it's like the A survey, the B survey, the C survey, but really the only reason we're going A, B, C in our file is because of we had 3 teams to just spend 2 hours in the cave and get this thing started. So we'll have one of these and we'll be able to edit it. And when you're editing, there's other things to do that we'll talk about. But when you're editing it, you just type in like, okay, F1 to F2, 50.3 feet. Click enter and kind of just keep copying in data. Once it's all copied in, you want to make sure you save it and all that. But once that's all done, you can reopen the file or go back to this page. Click on your file that contains all those surveys in it and click process and view cave. And this is quite helpful because it makes a really quick line plot of your cave. And it's a little, outdated, but you can click all the stations on and you can zoom into those stations. So this is an entrance down here and a newly discovered entrance all the way over here by the river. And you can identify, You know, you can look at the line plot. You can do a lot with the line plot, but you got to get this line plot started so that you can take it into Illustrator and start drawing. There's tons of little buttons you can do to play with the line plot, but our main purpose is just to get the data in so we can take it to Adobe Illustrator. You can also look at the profile view. So you can see like the total vertical extent of the cave and even click the stations on. See that there's like 3 levels there, or 2, yeah, 3 levels, maybe 2, and all that. But this isn't too helpful for the drafting, but you can do a lot with this as far as visualization of everything. You can put in like elevation colors and stuff, and there's probably a way to like, oh yeah, and you can label the elevation so you can see the total vertical extent really quickly. But you know, that's all that is. So the biggest thing is to get the data in, and to do that, we'll be editing cave survey or file. So that's, once you have it downloaded, and I put it on my desktop, you'll double tap it to get started, and you're going to click File. Maybe File. Create new survey file. There it is. You're going to go File, Create new survey file. And what's weird is you're going to name the first survey, which is not the name of the cave, which is a little weird, if I'm remembering this correctly. So what was the day that let's just do, I'm just going to name it 4/6/2024. I could also name it the A survey. Now the file name is where you name the cave. So I would name this IU show cave. And it saves it automatically to a file that it creates called wcomp32. I just change that to somewhere I'm more familiar with. In this case, I'm just going to put in my cave mapping and tools folder just to temporarily put here. This won't be the official file. So once you file, create a new survey file, name your first survey, which I named it just the date that we did it, which I think should work okay. You're going to click that. It might not always, yeah. So you want to make sure this is highlighted. If you click process and view cave, there's no data. So you're not going to get anything. Oh, well, we got a line. But you want to click edit cave survey or file. And in it is the survey I named. I named it 4/6/2024. So naming it A would have made a little more sense because there is a spot for a date there. But again, I guess it's called the ABC survey. We'll have to figure that out. But once you're here, you've got a spot that you can start entering data. And what you need to do is double click this to get it going. And you could put the survey, you can change the survey name. So if I liked A, B, C better, I could do that. I use show cave. I like to put who was on the team. It was on 4/6/2024. Just kidding, the survey team members are right down there. So you can add some survey team members, and that's pretty much all I ever fill out here. There's some other things that this can do. The website does explain quite a bit of it. But another thing you need to do before getting started is down here in the bottom left corner. You need to click Edit Settings. And this is going to change the organization of entry when you start putting in data. The only thing to really change here is on the LRUD order. You want it to be left, right, up, and then down. We're going to have backsites on. So we're going to click Enable Backsites because we took backsites during our survey. And then corrected backsites is if you were putting in, instead of the opposite of 100, or instead of the 180-degree difference that we were doing for backsites, you would have a device that automatically like corrects it. So if you took 242 on the front shot, it would be 242 on the back shot. We did not do that. And the other thing is for the LRUDs from the station or to the station, we're going to click from station, and I'm going to explain what that means when we start entering data. So that's it. You click OK. You've edited the settings. You've changed it left, right, up, down. You put back sights on. We're just going to leave it on from station. Oh, and there's also units. We took compass in degrees. We took inclination in degrees. And we used length by decimal feet. We were not using feet in inches there. And it does default to decimal feet. And that's what all of our devices are going to usually go into. But if the survey was in meters, you could put it in meters for this one. And then for a later survey that was in decimal feet, you would mark it as decimal feet. I don't know. I haven't done 2 different measurements in one survey and try to figure out if it converts everything in the final line plot or not. But we did decimal feet. So before I go any further here, just any questions or concerns or comments? What we're going to be asking you guys to, oh, yep.
Does it matter that we didn't survey the first 15 feet of the cave?
Oh, that's
we
a good.
Skipped the entrance.
Right. So when we start entering data, and you can see this is why you name it the A survey or something, because it just defaulted to station 46-2024. Let's say, we're going to go A1 to A2 at the beginning of this thing. And then we're going to go A2, A3, and so on. But we later might have to do Z1, the entrance, to A1, if that makes sense. So it does not matter that we didn't get the first 15 feet because we can tie in the first 15 feet anytime at any cell. But we don't have it now, and that's okay.
Perfect.
And then we're going to be having, so this isn't the official file. We're going to try to get either one of you guys or some of you guys or one of each of you to try to do the first ones here. Once we kind of show you how to do it, it's such a small amount of work. It really can be a 1-person job in this first one. But with the PowerPoint and kind of going over this, you should be able to put that initial file together. But anyway, so when you do select your survey, you double tap it. Oh, and see, I didn't save it. So it was almost kicking me out of there. I'm going to click save. You double tap that survey, you put in your notes, you edit the settings, you're editing the survey, and where to start. So you just start with the data that you're handed from the crews that were out there. We scanned Team A, and they had one sheet. They had a title page, which was this. And they had one page of actual data, which was this. So I'm going to pull this over here. See if this will work. And it says A1 to A2 was 28.1 feet. Compass was 340.8. Compass 2 was 158.8. Inclination was minus 0.2. And it was positive. You don't have to click positive, you just put 0.4 in. LRUDs was, I'm going to always choose the largest number in this because of the way that it models the 3D passages. I'm going to do 8.3, 20.8, 2.9, and 0. And then it's automatically going to fill in A2 to A3 for me, and I can just keep clicking away. I am going to put the second one in, just have 2 consecutive before we start playing with these numbers. 0.8, 180, minus 9.3. 9.4, 6.3, 17, 3.6, 0. Okay. Now that we have, when you get all these in, which this will go A4 to B1, and that's where we will actually just type in B1. And keep in mind, it does matter if they're capital or lowercase. in these stations. So if you type in a lowercase b1 and you're trying to tie into capital B1, when you go to generate the line plot, it doesn't have anywhere to tie this into to connect all the dots together. So when you do have like a complete set of data, because from here, we would go to the B team on the same file in this case, just because it was kind of the same day. It looks like they have two of them. So you would go well, it might automatically do it. It automatically is doing B1 to B2, B2 to B3, and then it's going to be B3 to C1. When you finish all your data, and again, this, as you can see, this won't really take too long. One thing that you can do with it is click this button up here, validate backsites, and you click validate, and it didn't see any issues. And what that's doing is it's checking if your front sites and back sites match. So if I take this 340.8, that transition to 0.8 over here, and I change that to like 24, and I try to validate the back sites, it's going to catch that error. There's an error of about 24 degrees there. And it says the error is azimuth on station 2, A2 to A3 by 24 degrees. So this would tell you might need to retake a shot in the cave, or you might need to make a comment here. You know, bad backsite. And it might help you later on if you see something not matching up later when you have these notes in. It might be an easy thing to give the next trip a quick objective, like, hey, can you guys retake that shot just in case, because it looks funky on the map or something like that. But for this example, we got A1 to A2, A2 to A3. If we just click save, and saved it, and then came back over here and processed the cave, if it all works out okay. I don't know, honestly. I might need to. So there's A1 to A2, and then A2 to all the other stations is kind of doing something funky, but you can see it's already starting to plot it. A1 to A2, not too much elevation difference. So we have this file. Once you actually make it, you can open it from the place that you put it on your computer. You want to edit that cave survey file. You want to enter that by double clicking it and then start putting in all the data. And that's really it for the first part here. We need to get the data on this program, and then we can start exporting it into Illustrator so we can start lining up scans and drawing over it. The PowerPoint goes through everything in detail. I'm just going to skip down a couple points here. And it goes into more detail on some of these things. Oh, one thing we didn't talk about was the to and from. So when we did edit settings, we had from station for the LRUDs. That just means that these these LRUDs for this cell, column, row 1, 8.3, 20.8, 2.9, and 0 down are associated with the from station. So they are associating with A1. If we had put the settings for to station for LRUDs, these would be the left, right, up, down for A2, not A1. And this matters because you kind of end up with a weird thing at some point where if you cut your survey here, you have B3 to C1. Well, you have B3's LRUDs in, but you don't have anywhere to put C1's LRUDs in. So that's just something to be mindful about. When this is done, we're going to ask that you guys upload it to the Team OneDrive. that is accessible via the Google or the Facebook group and the email. So we have IU Showcave as a full folder. This is one of the folders in it. We would make a new folder, and this is where you can upload it. Oh, we'll make a new folder. We'll make a new folder. I don't know what it's doing. We'll make a new, well, whatever. I'll figure this out. But we'll do a new folder, and we'll just name it. It's maybe because I'm not signed in. I don't know. We'll name it Compass Files, and we'll keep our updated Compass files there. But if you just upload it in this space, we'll make sure it gets to the right place. But that's all we need for the first step. We need somebody to make an IU Showcave Compass file, jump in there, double click it, edit it, put ABC team in it, save it, and then upload it to this shared drive where everyone can access it. When it is done, it'll be cool because we can generate the line plot from what we did. So that'll be kind of neat. And then once that's done, we'll schedule the next, either the next cartography session, or it depends when it falls. We might do it after the next visit to the cave, but we'll schedule the next cartography session on how to take that file that we made in Compass and export it to Illustrator.
But why don't we just schedule this, the next session for Thursday of next week? And then we'll just keep it going that way. And so like at this point, maybe if we set that, like, it's not going to take very long for somebody to enter the data into
You are
Compass.
absolutely right. Yeah.
If we just set that as a deadline, and we're going to ask that, like, the team, the idea behind this is maybe like crowdsourcing the map, right? So like we have now a group of, what we had 12 people in the class, 12 people who now are familiar with the data, familiar with the sketches that were done, and familiar with the program that we're working you guys through right now. And amongst the 12 of you, you guys have the skills now to enter data into this Compass program. It'll always be on this shared drive, and anybody can work on it as they have time. So that's sort of the weird experiment that we're doing here. We're crowdsourcing a cave map, and it's like an open source concept for doing some of these resurveys. And that's what we were doing with the GCG project for Climax Cave, where basically anybody can jump in at any time, GCG Grotto members or not, and can come to one of our surveys and can jump in on the files and start working on them. So because this is just the data entry segment, it really should be like a half-hour exercise for somebody to start playing with it. Multiple people can play with it so that you get familiar with Compass.
Yeah,
This is the photography step. Yeah.
you guys could all do your own if you want, just to practice this process, because I mean, it is kind of weird. It's not the most user-friendly program. So
It's
if
very
you guys
90s. Yeah.
do your own and send it to one of us or me, because I looked at all of them last time for the GCG one. We can give you feedback on it, or you can just, you ran through it and I need to give you the seal of approval that it looks right. That's any new cave you start, that's the process if you're using Compass. And for this exercise, we're going to use Compass.
Does Compass work on Windows only, Bo, or does it work on Mac as well?
The only way to get it to work with Mac, I think, is you got to do one of those, like you'd get any program to work with Mac.
Whatever, you got to run through Wine or whatever they call it.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know if Walls works with Mac.
I don't know that either, to be honest.
But that's the best answer I've had, unfortunately. Now, what's great is you don't need a supercomputer to run Compass.
Yeah. Again, it's very 90s.
So if you have like a shitty extra thing or something, you could try to utilize that, because Adobe Illustrator is going to work on a Mac.
Yeah. Yeah, so what'll be interesting is if like maybe somebody exports the file from Compass, and then somebody else maybe who has a Mac can continue working on the Illustrator portion, or something like that. But I think what we would like to do is maybe schedule that next Thursday. We can at the same time meet maybe another little half-hour session and get people familiar with the export and then the Adobe process of processing the data that the survey sketches into the final map.
Yeah, once you get to the Adobe thing, it gets a little more complicated. And we'll have a chat group, an actively working chat group, so no one person is working on our main file at one time. Otherwise, it's not like the cloud, one person will finish it up, we'll upload it to the shared drive. They'll chat in the active working chat group that they're working on it, so no one else is, or if they are, they they can make sure they don't work at the same time. But we haven't had that issue yet. But there will be a sort of chat group function for that, if I can.
Bo, if you want to maybe pull up the GCG map and kind of show them the progress that we've done there, it may kind of help people with understanding like what's going on. So like Bo's pulled it up before. Basically every time we go to survey in Climax Cave, he'll pull it up, show me sort of where we've made progress and where there's still gaps in the map, and it tells me where I need to go in the cave to go continue the survey. So that's been super helpful. And
let me pull up the OneDrive for it, because that's I'll just pull it up.
And so while we're talking about that, or while Bo's pulling that up, one thing I did want to bring up is I chatted with Laura on text today, and it looks like so similar to like the crowdsourcing idea. In order to keep the momentum going here, there's probably like somebody from the group who's needed to like schedule trips to IU Show Cave ongoing. And it's maybe like a matter of like, hey, 4 or 5 of us can get together and go schedule a weekend to go survey in there, gather some additional, sketches and stuff. I told Laura that I have currently 5 Shetland attack ponies, willing to give 2 to BIG as loaners for a while. That way you guys have a couple of digital survey devices to take with you guys. And I think Laura's personally got a disto uncalibrated, which the calibration on that's a little finicky, but I at some point or another I can like mail the because I don't have any plans to be in Indiana anytime quite soon, but I can mail 2 Shetland attack ponies out to you guys, and I'm going to leave it up to you guys, but maybe designate like a trip leader, or like every month you can rotate who the trip leader is, but to schedule a trip to continue surveying and then continue the map.
So
And the idea is to present like a low pressure environment that you guys can like mess up, practice sketching and stuff like that. That's kind of why it's nice to do a cave resurvey like this.
So you guys, while we're kind of doing this next part here, just think about that as far as who might be willing to commit at least to schedule the next trip and help organize that. And I know Laura's going to jump in for the organization a little bit of that, but definitely think about that. Here's the Climax map. So once this IU Show Cave gets going, we're going to have each one of these is a station, A1 to A2, A3 to A4, and then we get into B1. So this is a different cave, but you'll start having like something to look at before the next trip. And what we'll do is we'll pull up this map before each trip as we're working on it, as the caves are being mapped, and we can identify, okay, we want to go to this lead on this trip, and we know we had to tie into the B3 station or something. So this was put together by somebody completely new to cartography. We did some sessions, and they actually it was Kyle. He's here, and he asked a lot of questions, and he played with the program, I think, and it's not too bad of a process if you put it together as you're completing the map. But yeah, Stephanie, I don't know, did you want to mention anything else here? This
Can
is
you
kinda where
show
we're
the
going.
overlay of the segment that like you just sent me to? Because like there, I think the sheets were like not drawn in yet, and that's kind of cool to see like how the scans lay over it. I think that's really cool. Yeah,
I know, I'm trying to see if there's a good area.
there's a lot of layers.
So we have a layer called February 2024, and that was the February 2024 data. And this line plot that we're putting this on top of, it says DB7. We're just matching it up with DB7 or DB6 or wherever. I might have it a little mixed up. Or there might be this might be an example of an error, a sketching error, because it's not lining up perfectly with the line plot. But the line plot, the red thing, we're getting from Compass. So we're bringing that from Compass to Illustrator. And then the scans, we're putting them over the computer generated, totally correct line plot to sort of make sure everything's right. There's no human error. You know, you could stretch this out to match it perfectly there, or you could just kind of move it around. And then we trace over this with different layers. So there's like a layer for all the walls, and we're just tracing the walls in at a certain weight. We have brushes to brush in the floor details, like a ledge there. We have swatches for the other for the fine floor details, where we can just like put in a circle and then fill that circle with a swatch. This is like, I use sometimes placeholders. I just call it mud until I design a swatch I'm happy with. Because you can change all that at once. So it's pretty forgiving once you get going. But that's what we're doing. We're going to be taking that line plot in and then putting the scans over the line plot.
So we'll be doing that next week. But yeah, that's just like a preview of what we're doing and how this has been kind of working on another project. And like every month that we go and survey, we've been like, it's like a mud ball. We just keep collecting more people every time we go survey. And so there's just like new people who keep rolling into the project. And I expect probably something similar is going to happen for you guys, which is kind of cool because then you get like this map that gets redone by the whole grotto basically. And it's kind of fun to see it coming together all by like new people learning it. So,
and this process that we do, you can just replicate it with any other cave that you want or that you find in the future. And once you do it a few times, it becomes second nature. But there are other ways to do it. I prefer Compass, but there's some other things that we can talk about. But we're gonna run through it with Compass and SVG export and all that. So okay, when should we do the next Carto session? We were thinking, is it next week this time?
Yeah, 7 p.m. on Thursday. I'm gonna assume that generally works because next week you guys don't have grotto meeting.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as that works for you. I mean, you two are you three are kind of the keys to this whole thing.
Okay.
But we won't be for long.
We're handing it off to you guys. Yeah.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll do Thursday, the 25th. Now, with that being said, who for sure, you know, it's awesome if everybody wants to put one together and they send them all in and we just pick one that looks nice, or they all look the same. We just upload one. But who for sure can we rely on to put this data into Compass and either send it to me or upload it to the shared drive? Is there anyone that...
I think Warren's saying that he would like to, but he's just static.
I think Warren volunteered himself. I'll volunteer myself too. So we got two people guaranteeing it.
All right, that's a good fail safe. And anyone else can send it to me. All right, cool. And anyone else can send it to me and I'll provide feedback and all that. There's not too much to critique on it, but we get that in and then we're squared away for the next week. And we just want to get to a good spot quickly to where once the next survey goes out, we can have the map drafted to that next survey. Okay, so was that Warren? Was it Tim that was talking, or was it?
It was Matt and Warren. And if somebody doesn't mind sending me like an address, it can be anybody who's like interested in continuing the survey. I'll mail 2 of the Shetland attack ponies to you guys. And then eventually I'll pick them up from somewhere in Indiana, I guess. But I figure you guys probably want to start scheduling a next trip. You'll find out that like processing the data really is not that well. We're behind on Climax, but having a monthly survey kind of keeps you getting more accumulated that you can do stuff, and like it's good practice for everyone as well. So is there anybody who would be okay? You guys, you can like Facebook message me later and address, and I'll mail 2 ponies to you with instructions.
I'm moving here in a couple weeks. Sorry, I just figured out how to fix my mic. So I'm not going to be able to grab the ponies. I'm happy to do the data that we've already got for right now, though.
Cool. Okay.
It's
And
Matt.
then-
I can send you an address.
Cool. And then I don't want to like commit anybody to a survey right now, but like guys think about it and use the Facebook group to set up a
Does
Yes, sir.
anyone want to at least be in charge of getting that? Well,
coordinated.
or
You
is,
don't have
is
to
somebody
show up
for
every time,
sure
I
going to
guess,
go to
but-
the next survey and do it next month or something?
And
'Cause
like
that
roll
person-
more people in.
We
'Cause
need
now you guys know what to do.
But again, yeah, it could be something we
Yeah, they
out.
can think about it, but and like Laura can push it around as well. But I definitely think good low impact, low, low pressure survey.
Yeah, it only needs to be like 3 people, but we try to get one person who's surveyed quite a bit before to go with them. The only other thing is that this whole cave might only take, I don't know,
It's
I
a
think it was
small-
2,000 feet.
Yeah.
Could take 8 trips, maybe. It could take more.
I think
depending
by
on-
the end of the year, you guys can have a finished map. Like
Yeah,
if you
and
do
having-
one a month, you
Yeah.
guys could finish it by the end of the year.
Definitely. So that's all. That's all we wanted to really touch today. We didn't want it to be too much. We wanted to see who would show up, and just get this ball rolling.
And this session was recorded, so I'll send it to Bo to throw onto a YouTube. Because you have a YouTube for survey.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
well, yeah, it'll be unlisted and all that. I'll just make sure it gets in our Facebook group.
Okay.
And we'll keep the calls consistent and straightforward, so we don't waste any time. We try not to do anything over an hour. And this first one is we just gotta get our feet in the right direction. Janie.
Jeannie.
Jeannie.
It's just
sorry.
jean like denim.
I remember now. We were lost together.
Yes.
Well, Jean, that's good to hear that you'll go to the next trip. Think about a date that would work for you, because you're the only one who's committed so far, and maybe others will follow.
Okay. Is there any with that cave, is there any precaution we have to take as far as like flooding or anything?
I think it was chosen because it is a drier cave. I'm not sure though. So check in with like Chris Sewell. Because she lives
We'll
like really
connect you
close
with,
by.
I remember getting told there's a river or like a stream in the back, and that's the only place where you would really get into water.
Okay.
Okay.
and then access will be something, right? Laura's gonna have to set up access.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
we
there's,
can
like,
work
a-
with Danielle.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
would this
cool.
happen most likely on a Saturday?
I think so.
So
Well,
we've done, for the GCG ones, we've done Sundays a lot because that's what
no, it's
works
been the
for us.
second Saturday every month. We
Never
did
mind.
Sunday once, maybe.
Anything works, whatever works best for you guys.
Okay. Okay.
Usually it's a Saturday.
I do prefer Saturday. I would just have to know a couple weeks in advance at least.
Yeah, I think
Dean,
we
I
should,
think we'll try to set it up in the group so everybody can see when we're planning and throw their
Okay.
2 cents in too.
Okay.
awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well,
Much
I
appreciated.
plan mentally for a May trip, and then next week we'll take the data that you guys create and we'll export it into Illustrator and see how far we can get with Illustrator. Before that, you're going to want to probably download Compass on your computer, play around with the Facebook files, check out the scans that everyone sketched up, and then make sure SVG Exporter and Adobe Illustrator is on your computer if it's possible before the next one. And then you can try to follow along. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Thanks, Bo. Thanks, everybody, for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
guys.
guys.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.